Hey, what's going on? Good afternoon. Welcome to CBN Tech Talk. I'm gonna wait for a while to see if you guys can come in maybe the next 2 to 5 minutes. 2 to 5 minutes, that is. I know it's been a while. A lot has happened to the last broadcast I did here on the channel. On my last broadcast, I was going through the season. I have sinus. If anyone who knows someone who goes through sinus issues, whereby you can't be around dusty areas, we gotta have the whole place dust down, which I do almost on a daily basis in my area. Since we have two puppies, two little dogs, I gotta vacuum, dust down my surrounding area, my work area, almost every day. Now I gotta ear clean the dust my there's certain things that trigger my allergy. If I can remember correctly, I took an allergy test a while back. Concerning that it didn't look good for me, but it is what it is. I can't think what's bugging me. So I took precaution, make sure I get things done, have things situated, which I did. Also got some medicine supplies. I got Zytex. Thing I gotta do just stay a little healthy. I gotta change my diet, exercise more. Than I do, but I need to for myself to do my time doing my hours from home. In case anybody don't notice that, I am an IT professional. I do work from home remotely at level 5 remote support. Been doing it for a while now, remotely. Any noise in the background? Yes, I'm in New York City. I'm in Brooklyn, the ghetto. Now, quite as some of my other peers in the Black YouTube space, we have an easier, quiet environment. Sometimes you may hear some shenanigans, you may hear some fire, siren, whatsoever, but it is what it is. I want to do some recap on the last episode that I was working on, which is part of the series I'm working on concerning the changing marketplace for building custom PC. I recall I started with the CPU. Was it CPU? No. Yeah, it was a CPU. I started then the motherboard. Then I talked into the world concerning what kind of motherboard you pick. Then I went down to the RAM. The first episode concerning the RAMs, I try to give much detail concerning why it's very crucial about what you pick and what you use. I try not to be too over technical with the explanation behind the RAM because what we have in the market today that we're using to this present moment, we have two set of RAM. We have DDR4, you have DDR5. There is DDR3 and DDR2. They're about to be obsolete. Now, for those who are trying to build a computer, right, for any kind of use, either for basics, everyday use, you open your email box, you surf the web, you do your online shopping, whatsoever. You remember what's the big deal? Like you go a little further, I think you run that more off. You run a small business at home. And I hate to say this, but what kind of RAM and the amount of RAM you put in your PC is always going to be critical. It's always will be critical. I'm not going to dodge it in deep right now. It's only past 5 minutes. I'm not west started off, but let me not sidetrack too much. But let me say to you guys, when you're buying a laptop, right? Either you're going to Best Buy, PC Richard, what am I trying to put out there? This micro too, yeah. Or I might get a laptop from Walmart or from Office Mac, whatever. When these sales reps come at you, oh, we got a laptop for you. They mention what kind of products, and they know you don't really care too much about products because they don't think you be tech savvy or well informed about what kind of parts you want in your laptop or whatever. They tell, okay, you got this to pocket by Intel, which well, they might try to sugarcoat it. They might tell you that, oh, we had a little, it's 15 inches, 13 inches, whatever, very flexible, whatever. You got this amount of processor, you got X amount of hard drive space, and they breed over the RAMs. You got 8 gig of RAM. You don't need more than that, but they will lie to you. I used to work in Best Buy. Number one lie. They make it seem like 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gigs of RAM is pretty much okay. You do a lot with it. I'm gonna be frank with you guys. Literally be frank with you guys. When it comes to an operating system, you have to be very careful with the minimum. Now, pertaining Windows 10, Windows 11. Okay, not to mention Windows 7 because that 7 should be obsolete by now. But pertaining Windows 10, if I'm humbly correct, the majority of Windows 10 machine out there may be 64-bit platform. There are two versions of Windows 10 that out there. There's a 32-bit operating system of Windows 10, and there's a 64-bit version of it. I'm going to explain to you why. This is why I think people don't really comprehend. When it comes to an operating system, I remember back then during the Windows 7 and Windows XP days, most of the machine that were put out there or sold out there was Windows XP 32-bit, Windows 7 32-bit. And reading to it because the maximum RAM required for it to run was 4 gigs of RAM because it was a 32-bit platform. Now, when you reach into the 32-bit platform, it's much different. It's a big deal. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys, I had to put it on mute because when you have knucklehead kids that don't want to listen to you, act like they don't remember, it can really cross your mind that they want to be hard headed. And I'm that type of father who is strict and thick with protocols. So they can stick with protocol now. I can imagine what they do out in the real world today. As I was saying, when we come to Windows XP, Windows 7, the majority of the PC that was sold out there back then was a 32-bit platform of Windows XP, Windows 7, but only require you a maximum of 4 gigs of RAM. That's the max based on the system platform 32-bit version of Windows XP, Windows 7. But there were 64-bit version of Windows XP, 64-bit version of Windows 7 existed, but wasn't being sold at that time. Later on, going to Windows 7 slowly but steady, based on the changes in technology, based on the requirement of the latest application during that time, it had to transition away from the 32-bit platform of Windows 7 to the 64-bit platform of Windows 7. Now, that's where the change being made. Now, some of these sales up in these retail stores made the biggest mistake they made. You should suggest that, okay, a 64-bit platform, you don't need much RAM. You can use about 8 gigs of RAM, or you use about 16 gigs of RAM. That'd be pretty much okay. Here's the problem. I'm gonna let you guys know the deal and the scam behind this. In technical terms, remember that I mentioned the maximum RAM required for a 32-bit version of any type of window, either be Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10, and Windows 11. But I don't think Windows 11 do 32-bit anyway, so I don't think that matter. But for 32-bit platforms of Windows, it only requires a maximum of 4 gigs of RAM. But when you enter the threshold of 64-bit platform of Windows, minimum requirement is exactly 16 gigs of RAM just to smoothly operate with Windows alone. Not adding that you will install any extra application. This is where the problem people make mistakes a lot. And I will turn it into the discussion while I'm talking about RAMs, right? Benjamin. In some of my past jobs, I was part of a Windows XP to Windows 7 migration project, then Windows 7 migration to Windows 10 project. And when it comes to like you're doing mass deployment, our job title is to be on the site, do a survey, we document what kind of applications these people are using, whatsoever, et cetera, right? We back up the data, we pick up the machine, we transfer the data, we image these laptops. Now, mind you, some of the people that we do survey, they have any type of what they call resource hungry, resource guzzling applications. There's a few: Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Dreamweaver, what I would say, AutoCAD. Wow, there's a lot of them. But I'm trying to make sure I mention them correctly. But I would just say that any type of graphical designing software, either be like Photoshop, um, Dreamweaver, anything from the Adobe suite that how you had to edit the picture, create animation whatsoever. But we into AutoCAD, which design the blueprint whatsoever, or designing 3 dimensional things, it requires you to have more resources. That's what you need more, right? Okay, fine. Now, Microsoft Office is not a resource hungry grabbing application. It works well within the parameter of Microsoft Windows because they're both under Microsoft, but it could be a light application, that light work. So it shouldn't take too much resource per se, depending what you're doing. Now, if you're working on this where the bevel can twist. Now, if you're working on Microsoft Word or working on Microsoft Excel, and you're dealing with a large file, or let's say you're writing an article with 16 to 13, 16 to 32 page of data type on Microsoft Word should not take too much resource, should it? But if you're going past the stretch or you're going to like almost 100 pages or so, then it come along that it adds up. That's a lot of cash taken from around. Same thing with what we're doing in the Excel spreadsheet. Based on what you do in the Excel spreadsheet, this Excel spreadsheet is the data size is ridiculous. Went from a couple of megabyte to almost to a couple of gigs or so, and then to like keep doing expand. Those require you to have a certain amount of RAM to actually read and write do it in the D platform. Okay, so let me tie it on to this. When you're dealing with Windows 7, Windows 10, and Windows 11, 64-bit version of the operating system, you all require, minimally speaking, about 16 gigs of RAM to actually run smoothly on Windows without adding any extra third-party applications that's not under Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? But when you start to add application onto the particular operating system, which means you're about to cross your threshold based on how that thing will run smoothly. Now, for anybody who understands what I'm trying to say is this. There will come a time when you buy a new laptop, you got 16 gigs of RAM, right? You install maybe like 4 or 5 applications. The performance you had beforehand, before you install it, and afterward, it changed dramatically. Notice that, right? So here you have 16 gigs of RAM, and you install like what? I don't know, 4 or 5 applications, one of them Photoshop. Then you know your PC starts to lag. And when you move the cursor, right? You can see the cursor here, right? Imagine you trying to move it and you trying to move it fast. Instead of moving fast, it's moving slow, or it gets stuck in between. And you have that little circle rotating. That is where it affects the process or the speed or your performance of your PC. That is because you don't have enough RAM in your PC. That's why I'm referring to now that we're doing what they call 64-bit platform. Started from Windows 7 when they increased the reach of it because, one, the same thing with Microsoft Office, the two versions of Microsoft Office. If I remember correctly, sorry, if you see me close my eye, when I'm talking, I'm closing my eye, it's like there's so much information and data in my head and my brain from past job, past work. I have to like sometimes close and just remember look back in there. Um, in Microsoft Office Profession, there are two versions they have out there. They got Microsoft Office 32-bit version, Microsoft Office 64-bit version. That is correct. The Microsoft Office 32 version, no, blah, blah, blah. The Microsoft Office 32-bit version can work both on the 32-bit platform of OS. Let me cancel that statement. Sorry, guys, I'm in the tongue tap because this is when my brain starts to unload a lot of data. I'll say it again. Microsoft Office Professional 32-bit version of the application, it can work on both version of Windows, either be 32-bit platform or 64-bit version of the operating system. Either be Windows 7, Windows 10, or Windows 11. It can work on both ends. But what I'm realizing is that people don't notice this. Depending on the type of work you do on Microsoft Office, you might be better off if you're working on the 64-bit version of Windows, which either be Windows 7, Windows 10, or Windows 11. You'll be better off installing this 64-bit version of Microsoft Office. Remember, you have two type of operating system. You have 32-bit version of operating system, then you have the 64-bit version of the operating system. Now, I know I'm not talking about RAM, but I'm going to tie it into you. See where I'm coming from. Let me remind you, when you're using Windows 7, Windows 10, 32-bit version of your operating system, you don't even require you to have maximum of 4 gigs of RAM. You can push 32 gigs in the motherboard. If your OS is a 32-bit platform, it's only going to recognize only 4 gigs. Even so, in the BIOS, it recognizes 32. The operating system dictates what it will use, what it's not going to use. Just so you know. So, since I was trying to remind you guys about the application of Microsoft Office, the 32-bit version can work on both. The 32-bit version of operating system of Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11, they apply to the 64-bit version of Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11. Now, the 64-bit version of Microsoft Office only work on the 64-bit version of the operating system, which is under either Windows 7, Windows 10, or Windows whatever version you know of Microsoft Office. Now, why did I say all these things? Okay, we come to the RAMs. Everybody think the minimum is 16 to do all the extra stuff. The way Microsoft Office is designed is you use not so much of the resources, aka the RAM, even though you may have 16 gig. But for operational purpose, In case you're installing more than multiple applications, it best required to have at least 32. Now, for laptop is like a mobile device, so you can't really load it to the brink of it because that's when you slow it down, depending on what kind of hard drive you have, because of what kind of RAM you have, and the speed wise. Now, when I'm talking about DDR4, DDR5, they're different based on speed, and the bus speed being designed based on the technology. Um, how to put it? When you're building your PC, right? There's the thing I have perfected over the years when people ask me, do want to buy a PC or want to build a PC, I to ask them, what are the list of demand or the list of the need that you want your PC to be used for? That's one of my things I always ask people. Why you want to build a PC? Is it for school? Is it for work? Is it for working from home, homework, etc. It's going to be? Is it for gaming? Is it for graphic design, rendering, AI, whatever? I need to know what you need it for so that I can have it built based on the requirement it need to actually to handle that type of load. That being said, for people who will be a student going to school, go be university, they'll be in a dorm, whatever, or have their own apartment, you're going to need at least 32 gigs of RAM. Reason why, first and foremost, depending what kind of application you'll store behind right after you put in the OS, which is either Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11, more likely will be 2-bit platform. Then you install Microsoft Office. They got a student version. Will come with Outlook, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. Hold on. Outlook, Microsoft Word, Excel, like 4 or 5. Yeah, I believe it would be in PowerPoint. Yeah, there you go. 4 for yeah. Now you get a professional employee or you get some kind of hookup. There's a hookup in Microsoft whereby if you're a college student, then instead of you paying the full price, you get it for a fraction of the cost. That'll be another conversation another time. So when you install Microsoft Office, after you install the operating system in it, and you have other third-party applications, problem is if you don't have enough RAMs, it'll be hard to run these applications simultaneously, whereby you can open multiple windows. Right now, I got about let me see, on my Chrome browser, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Now, I would have show you the browser, but I don't want to have. You know what? I will show you the browser. I got 32. I will move over here. You see the special effect. I'm kind of across here what I have here. I got 32 windows open here on this browser. I'll move it back. Plug these two, make it 34. Where there's not much of a crazy lag on it whatsoever. On my custom made PC, I have 64 gigs of RAM. It's halfway through the max. Now, here's the thing. Remember correctly when I was studying this in the school. The 64-bit version of Windows XP and Windows 7 at the time, which was available, maxed out to 128 gigs of RAM. Me, it allowed you to have a huge amount of memory resources. So in case of any type of resource tasking application, either be AutoCAD, either be Photoshop, Dreamweaver, whatever you're using that require a whole lot of resource, you'll be able to run smoothly on your PC and you're able to do other stuff on the side at the same time simultaneously. Just like me, I have about 34 window template or browser open because of the amount of RAM I have. I would not be able to do this with 32 without no slight lag, nor it will be almost impossible to do that under 16 gigs of RAM. What I'm trying to point out. Now, the thing concerning this, when building the PC, like I said, it depends what you're use it. People want to get into gaming. Yeah. Want to do the gaming? Some people say 16 gig is cool. Nah. You want to stay clear of the bottleneck issue you may have along the way, whereby you require certain spec. Remember I told you. Remember I'm recommended for 64-bit version of any operating system. it's actually 16 gigs of RAM. With me, whatever the window it may take out of 16 gigs, it may take about 4, maybe 8 gigs. Leave you half. Then the application you plan to put on the machine, you'll have you ever notice? I'm sure you guys understand this very well. You want to come here, I hope you're watching. When you buy any application, look at the back. It has a minimum requirement. Based on the minimum requirement, it lets you know what you need to have. Either tell you need to have Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11, whatever. They have what kind of hard drive space, what kind of video card you require, and the amount of RAM you need. Right? Now, when it does that, people don't put into perspective that the minimum RAM required is not just that alone, it's you add that to the operating system you have on your machine. That's a mistake people make. So we see here, I type in DDR4 3600. There are different variant speeds. I think the max one I think out there is 4,000 available on the DDR4. You got 4,000 megahertz. You got 3,600 megahertz, 3,200 megahertz. You got 33,000, 3,300 megahertz. You got 28 megahertz, 26, 26, 33, or 23, 33. Different type of speed range. Now, in today's time, we have DDR5, which is for the 12th gen and 13th gen motherboards. But I'm trying to stay you got away from for the meantime for the sake of your budget, right? So it's crucial, but what you pick and what you choose. Some people will pick Kingston's. I have Corsair. And the virtual Corsair I have, I'm going to show you guys. You'll be able to see it soon. Is this version. But there are two of these versions. This is the AMD version. I have the regular one. If I have a regular version of it, so you can see what it looks like. The next page. Yeah, this should be what it looks like. Yeah, it's the kind of package I have. I got the 64 gig version. With me, I got 4 sticks. Each stick is 16 gig. Now, mind you, I need to upgrade it to 128, reading it one, as I'm trying to invest more in my setup so I can have a better production, so I can have a better show for you guys. So there should be no lag, whatever. Because in the background, I'm doing a lot of other things. I'm doing Bitcoin mining with one video card. That's another discussion another time. I'm doing other stuff in the back end. So with 128 gigs of RAM, I will have far more than that, which I'll max out. There should be no lag in my performance. There should be no glitch. If I'm moving back and forth, moving back and forth, there should be no problem. I have enough RAM. That's one. Two, I plan to upgrade my motherboard just one more level up. But I'm going to level 0 to 12. I'm going to be on to 11. But what I have is the Asus RG Maximus Hero. What I want to upgrade to is the Asus RG Maximus Extreme. It will allow me not only to do what I need to do on my PC, I have extra slot available for more NVMe hardware. That'll be the next one, the next topic. Well, let me open my Microsoft Word. As you can see, I'm using Microsoft Office 2021. I upgraded from 2019. This won't take too much. It doesn't take too much of my resource, so it's fine. So, as I was trying to elaborate, picking and choosing what kind of RAM for your PC build, it all depends on what company you're familiar with, the hardware you're familiar with, and the performance base behind it. If anyone to get into, I hate to say this, I hope you guys watching this. If you're into making your own T-shirt, you have like a teacher printing device or teacher printer out there that you gotta hook up with your PC. I'll highly recommend you have at least 64 gigs of RAM. So in case there's no lag in between the software that allows you to design, the teacher design we put on it, so that it can be printed out or add the design onto the teacher whatsoever. Any type of graphical design devices you use, either you're putting on a t-shirt or you do a 3D printer, whatever, I would highly recommend you have at least 64 gigs of RAM, flat out. This way you're able to operate within the requirement that you have without no performance lag in between. Same thing applies to people who will use Photoshop. If you're using Photoshop, using Dreamweaver, using AutoCAD, I helped build a couple of PCs for a couple of users in if I remember correctly, yeah, the Estee company. They didn't have a regular PC. They fall in the category what we have. They call talking developers or people who use the CAD, the CAD employees. I think that's the term they were using. When they refer to people who are CAD employees, they are employee who use AutoCAD or any application similar to AutoCAD. We allow them to do 3D rendering, either designing um, outfit or designing cosmetic or designing any kind of device, whatever. And then to rotate the device they're working on and measure the dimension before it goes straight to the next department, who either print it out or the manufacturer whatsoever. The PC that we built for the people wasn't no regular PC. It's mostly been ordered either through Dell or Gateway or whatever vendor they have a contract with. The PC was huge. It was heavy. It came with a third party video card. Either be Intel, no, correction, not with Intel. Intel's not in there at that time. Correct, forgive me. It was either the NVIDIA video card or AMD video card. Now, for AutoCAD, it's not the regular. I doubt it with the regular gaming card or the much different kind of video card that meant for AutoCAD that have more resources. Hear the drift, though. You got to hear it from me. Me and my peer, we look up the price for some of these third party video card they'll put it in there. And they wasn't cheap. They were coming like even like what? $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And not the same price like the gaming video card that we see out in the market today. Why isn't that these video card was designed for AutoCAD, 3D rendering, AI rendering, whatsoever. They are next level. With the drink. Talking about my dry. You know I'm saying that because remember I mentioned before earlier in the broadcast today. There are certain applications that have a huge requirement. And sometimes the requirement is fixed on what kind of process going to have in machine. Um, the amount of hard drive space going to have in machine. That's requirement for it alone to operate. It doesn't care you already have Windows in there, they have Microsoft Office in there, or any other application. The requirement for the have set for itself alone. That's what you need to look at. The amount of RAM you need to have too. Is what I say you should have at least 64 gigs of RAM. That allow you to work within the threshold, working smoothly without stealing other research from other applications in case you had to go back and forth. Well, I mentioned that. Whew. There's so much internet I came across we have to do with that issue. For the Etalana company, the factory company, they don't have that huge Dell tower. It was huge and heavy. We had the every dot one, store the driver for the video card, and store the AutoCAD, but you have a let me see, what is AutoCAD? What's the year? I think we're 2012, 2016 versions. That application is huge. That's why was it like I remember I was working at MTA and I saw the complete suite of AutoCAD. It was between 32 gig to 36 gigs. Dude, that is a massive, massive, massive application for AutoCAD, designing blueprint or 3D rendering. For that amount of space it takes to install on a machine, imagine how big the hard drive is supposed to be. Either you put a 500 gig hard drive or 1 terabyte, so to speak. These users, I remember correctly, those who do the AutoCAD in MTA and in Estelada, they have at least 500 gigs. I'm sure of it. Because the AutoCAD itself with a huge application, it requires a lot of resources. So some of these other cards you don't have in somewhat set to 32 gig and they were cutting it too close. But other because of the purpose they had in the company, able to get 64 gigs. That's why I said you need to have a set amount of RAM within the limit you're allowed to put in your PC, depending on what your PC spec can go to, so that when you have these applications fully installed, it can function properly with no glitch, no lag whatsoever. What I'm talking about. If you go to Amazon, you go to eBay. No, correct. Before you go to eBay, you will check out Amazon. You will check out Tiger Direct, and you checked out New Edge. Those three stores, three online stores that battle for supremacy. And then on the side, you have Microsoft, which is the in your face kind of store, which I will highly recommend because sure J210 recommend them as well. Shout out to J210. Game X recommend them. Shout out to Game X, including Paul Hardware. Shout out to him as well as Lyman Tex, my fellow Canadian. I'm a Canadian born, that's why I call it CBN Tech Talk. But I live in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, that is. So as I was saying this, concerning picking and choosing, you can go to Amazon, you can go to New Egg, you can go to Tiger Egg, check out the price, see what you need for your PT bill, based on what type of setup. But normally, based on the motherboard you pick, they also have their own lists of RAMs that work well on their different series of motherboard they have. You will really have to take your time when you buy before you buy these RAMs. The motherboard you had, go online, look up the list of which RAM work perfectly well for that particular motherboard you have. Look at the max you can get. Look at what you can put on there. Now, when you're throwing these RAMs, they are dual channel RAM, most of them right now. So you cannot have them too close. You put in a slot, one, two, three, four. Now, I don't think you understand terminology, but I'll say between one, two, three, four, you put in slot two, slot four, or slot one, slot three. That'll be within the same type of channel setup because you can't put them close to by throw your system. What you cannot do is min-match your RAM. You can't min-match it at all. So why did I say that? You have to be careful. Perfect example. We have a DDR4 3600 here, DDR4 3200 over there, DDR4 3000, right? You can have 32 and 36, 36 and 30, and they have different speed, different variant. But what happened without being informed, which I checked it out and have been validated, the PC only pick up the slowest speed of the RAM combined. So if we have a set of RAMs on one stick of RAM, I got it at 3,000 megahertz per second, and you have one that's only 36. And when I go for the 36, it will take the speed of 33,000 and force all the rest to operate in that RAM. You want to be careful. I did before I did test in the past, and I realized it does make sense why you don't want to make max the RAM you pick. What else I talk about? I want to make sure I clarify concerning dealing with RAMs. I'm not saying you guys don't spend your money and build a 12th generation or 13th generation PC on the Intel. I'm saying for the sake of getting a better deal in your budget for now. I'll say stick around the 11th generation. You don't have to go to 10th generation. 10th generation, like I can't think you cut it close, but you get in there. But it's still okay in case you need a lot of stuff within your PC. It's a money grab for the 11th no, for the 12th generation, 3rd generation series. Like fall down to the CPU, motherboard, the RAM, the hard drive, the power supply that work really well, the video card. You see how the video card, the 40 series. The 40 series meant for the 12, 11, 13 gen motherboard that out there. What else I'm trying to help you guys to understand concerning RAMs? I'm trying to make sure to follow up with my last episode because I was going with the sinus. I have my purifier here, which allow me to breathe a little bit better. I'm still at work, but my tools are down because they were doing some STM server update. So periodically I have to check, make sure if I have any ticket added. So I can notify why we're not able to work on a ticket. Whew. I'm also gonna log out because okay. If you can't work today, there's a STM server update going on in my job. We had a couple of tools that we use. Some of the tools they use for remote in, some of the tools that to get access to Active Directory to resolve issue, either application issue, software issue, or patching of the Outlook, whatever stuff that we can do on the most side, not hand on. I'm so good at working at hand on, it's not even funny. So I like to work on PC, but based on the position they give me, they pay me good money, which I'm able to work from home. I am humble by it, and I'm grateful for it. And thank you to TLA for giving the opportunity, to give me the idea of saying, you know what, since I got 20 plus years of experience in IT, why not use my knowledge to educate people and impact them their lives concerning different aspects of the IT arena that people want to get themselves for or engage into. Back to the topic. So when it comes to picking RAMs, there are a lot of great motherboards in the 11th generation that's still good. I work perfectly well with Windows 11, which is fine. So you can still future-proof your PC. If I'm correct, the PC to last you a good 4 to 6 years, once properly maintained and taken care of. Now, I would like to talk more other topic, but today's topic is all based on RAM, DDR4, DDR5. DDR5 work well with 11 generation, 12 generation, 13 generation. You have the high end speed on to 64,000 megahertz, no, 6400 megahertz, which is crazy, ridiculous speed whatsoever. You got the 43 card out there. You got the 13 generation processor, 13 generation motherboard as well. You got a new technology called the NVMe, that is 5.0. I'm using 4.0 on my PC. I got two of them. One's not being worked out on the wild card. I'm still trying to figure out that issue. I'm trying to troubleshoot it. Yeah, all different type of coolers you can cool your PC. But today was all about RAM. So if you have any question, any of my video in these series, please, 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 I'm begging you guys, I want you to post your question. I know none of them showed up, which is fine. No big deal. If you have any question concerning what I'm talking about, concerning RAM, concerning DDR4, DDR5, so you want me to pick on board, if I could take the question on the next episode and address the question for you before going to the next topic. I want to make sure these episodes I'm doing right now help you understand what's going on in the PT market today, so you can have a handle what's going on. I do have a community board. Let me pull this one out. I know the people have not been trying to check my community board. I'm showing you guys out right now. So be aware of it. I have a community board, right? Where I post different topics from fellow tech YouTubers. And I had a poll at the very beginning. If you have the time to visit my channel, this is free. It not cost you anything. It don't cost you a dime. I put a poll there since 4 months ago about what we want to talk about, what we want to engage into it. And I'll take my time to research it better so I can break it down in detail so you can understand. And about 4 polls. Indeed, if what you're looking for is not there, you post a comment. Let me know what's going on. This is my PT that I built. Take a picture of it. It's right here. I have other stuff I post in the community boards. Now, mostly it will be tech related. In some cases, it'll be something going on with present time that people to be aware of. Right? Fine. When you get a chance to, these some of the YouTubers who I may support or watching their stuff because they have the resources, they have the place. I would love to expand out I'm hoping as the channel grows organically, I can be able to do more stuff. So if y'all catch up me or if I get monetized, I get a super chat, whatever fun I get from you guys, I will be grateful. I can take that money and invest it more into the setup. I'm hoping down the line I can able to build a PC live with you guys. I was able to troubleshoot. So, like I said, I did it for a living, professionally speaking. Walk you through the troubleshooting stuff of how to overlook certain things because you have an issue with your video card or you have an issue with your PC or application issue, show you how to walk through these things, fix it. I'm hoping I can able to build different type of PC in due time. So it takes money to make money, which I fully understand, but it will take money to build a great show. I do have my catch app. Yeah, available. My catch up here. I have my two Facebook pages here. I'm on Instagram and I'm on LinkedIn. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, it shows you my resume, where I've been, what I've done, what I'm still currently doing. Uh, I love what I do. Um, would I call myself a PC enthusiast? Yes. Do I like to build cool PC with my own hand and see how I can think around it and figure out what I can do to make it better or make it look cool? I love it. Does it keep me active? Yeah. Does it keep me up on my game? Yeah. This is why I do what I do. Other than that, um, is anybody there watching the show? If not, it's fine. I'm not mad, but I hope you guys get a chance to watch this episode. Next episode, okay, I did open Microsoft Word. There it is. I'm going based on the documentation I did for a person. Yeah, well, no, I did motherboard first, correction. Yes, I did that. Then CPU, then RAMs, which is correct. Next will be hard drives, or not just the hard drive. That could be storage. I call SSD and or NVMe. That I will take a good time to explain the fundamental behind it, how it came about from the regular HHD hard disk drive, either from ID to EIDE to SATA. Before SATA, you have SSD, you have SSD, then you have what you have what now? NVMe. All right. On our note, please, 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 ladies and gentlemen, I do have a community board. Take the time out, all right? It'll be cool if you guys can do that. Until then, please go up in there, check out, leave your comment on my community board. Let me know what you want me to talk about more. I'll work on that. Until then, I really appreciate your time. It's great talking to you guys, but time for me to go get something done in this house. Until then, peace.